Let me start with a question, and don't answer it out loud. Just notice what happens inside. Have you ever looked back at your relationships and thought, how did I end up here again? Different person, same dynamic, same emotional exhaustion, same confusion, same ending. And you're sitting there thinking, I'm not stupid, I'm not clueless, I'm self-aware, so why does this keep happening to me? If that question has been looping in your mind, quietly or loudly, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. What's happening isn't bad luck. It's not that you're randomly choosing the wrong people. And it's not that you're missing some secret everyone else knows. What's happening is that your nervous system has a pattern. And that pattern is called attachment. Once you really understand attachment, a lot of things that felt deeply personal start to make sense in a much calmer way. So let's talk about attachment styles. Plain English, no psychology jargon, no diagnosing your ex, and definitely no blaming your parents. Most people fall into one of four attachment styles. These styles form early in life, not because something went wrong, but because your nervous system adapted to survive emotionally. And those adaptations don't disappear when you become an adult. They show up in dating, in long-term relationships, in friendships, even in how you relate to authority, conflict, and closeness. Roughly speaking, here's how the population breaks down. About 50 to 60% of people are securely attached. About 20 to 25% are avoidant, and about 15 to 20% are anxious, and about 5 to 10% are disorganized. These numbers aren't exact, but they're close enough to explain why some relationships feel natural and steady, and others feel intense, confusing, and exhausting. Let's start with secure attachment. Secure people are the ones who you look at and think, how are they so calm? They don't panic if you don't text back immediately. They don't spiral if there's a misunderstanding. They don't disappear when emotions come up. They like closeness, they like independence, and somehow, annoyingly, they can hold both at the same time. Secure people usually grew up with emotional safety often enough. Not perfect parents, not perfect childhoods, just consistency. They learn that emotions don't end relationships, and that closeness doesn't mean losing yourself. In relationships, secure people feel steady, predictable in a good way, not boring, just safe. They can say things like, that hurt me, without attacking, and they can hear things like, that hurt me, without shutting down. Working with secure people is usually straightforward. They can self-reflect. They can take responsibility. They don't love being wrong, but they can tolerate it. Here's something important that doesn't get talked about enough. Secure people tend to pair with other secure people, and they tend to drift away from chaotic dynamics, which means if you're anxious or avoidant, secure people might initially feel nice, but not exciting. That doesn't mean something is missing. It means your nervous system is used to intensity, not peace. Now let's talk about anxious attachment. Anxious attachment makes up about 15 to 20% of people. These are the deep feelers, the emotionally attuned ones, the people who notice tone, pauses, timing, energy shifts, everything. Anxious attached people crave closeness. They want reassurance. They want to feel chosen, prioritized, and emotionally safe. They often grew up with love that was inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes confusing. So their nervous system learned to stay alert. Anxious people don't want control, they want certainty. But when they feel closeness slipping away, their system goes into overdrive. They may replay conversations in their head, reread messages, analyze emojis, over-explain their feelings, over-give, over-accommodate. Not because they're needy, but because distance feels like abandonment. In relationships, anxious people often end up doing more emotional labor than their share. They check in, they repair, they explain, they hold the relationship together. In therapy, anxious people are usually very motivated. They want insight, they want tools, they want relief. The work isn't about becoming less loving, it's about learning how to self-soothe and not abandon yourself to keep someone else. Anxious people are often magnetically drawn to avoidance, and that combination can feel intoxicating at first. Which brings us to avoidant attachment. Avoidant attachment makes up about 20 to 25% of the population. Avoidant people value independence deeply. They often learned early that relying on others emotionally was disappointing, overwhelming, or unsafe. Closeness feels good until it doesn't. Then it feels like pressure. Avoidants don't usually think, I don't want love. They think, I don't want expectations. I don't want to be responsible for someone else's feelings. I don't want to lose myself. When emotions get intense, their nervous system shuts down. They pull away, they minimize, they distract, they intellectualize. They might say things like, I just need space. I'm not good at relationships. You're making this too heavy. Why can't we just keep things light? Working with avoidant people can be slower, not because they don't care, but because emotional awareness itself feels threatening. Closeness activates their fear, even when they want connection. Progress happens when intimacy feels safe, not engulfing. Now, pause for a moment. If you're listening and thinking, oh wow, this explains a lot, go ahead and like this video and follow the channel. It helps this reach the people who need it, and it tells me to keep making content like this. All right, back in. Let's talk about disorganized attachment. Disorganized attachment makes up about 5 to 10% of people. This style usually comes from early environments where love and fear were mixed together, so closeness feels both deeply wanted and deeply unsafe. Disorganized people may swing between anxious and avoidant behaviors. They may crave intimacy one moment and pull away hard the next. They may idealize someone intensely, then suddenly distrust or devalue them. Relationships can feel chaotic, intense, and confusing for everyone involved. Therapy here requires patience. Consistency matters more than insight at first. Safety comes before interpretation. Now, where does narcissism fit? Narcissism is not an attachment style, but narcissistic traits often overlap with avoidant or disorganized attachment. Only about 1 to 5% of people meet criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, but many more people have narcissistic traits like difficulty with empathy, defensiveness, fragile self-esteem, difficulty taking responsibility, emotional entitlement. Attachment styles explain behavior, but they don't excuse harm. Understanding attachment is for clarity, not self-betrayal. Let me say something important. Your attachment style is not your destiny. Anxious people can learn regulation and boundaries. Avoidant people can learn emotional presence. Disorganized people can learn safety and trust. Secure attachment can be earned. And when people do this work, they stop repeating the same relationship in different bodies. Let's bring this home. Most people aren't too much, they're anxious. Most people aren't cold, they're avoidant. Most people aren't broken, they're wired for protection. Healing begins when you stop chasing chemistry and start choosing safety. If you want help working through this in your own life, you can book a session with me at danielmichaeltherapy.com. And if this video helped you, share it with someone who keeps asking, why does this keep happening to me? I'll see you in the next one.